Hello, everyone. Let me make sure that this is actually going to make... Hopefully this is working. Hi, Nairo. Can you hear me? Hi, Nairo. Okay, sorry. I was checking it on my phone to make sure I could hear. Many times I have started recording and it never picked up my voice. So I just sat and talked at nothing. You could see my lips move, but you couldn't hear anything coming out. Okay, good. How are you? I haven't talked to you in forever. Hopefully you are doing well. Oh, yeah, making dinner. Just half the battle is thinking of it. And then having to get it all together. But like me trying to figure out what they're going to eat, I'm just like, ugh, I don't even want to. Okay. So, for tonight's live, I'm not sure how long I'll be on. I'm just trying to find snippets wherever I can because I have a winter market coming up December 2nd. So I'm trying to get everything together and organized in my brain. So right this second, I'm going to be cutting some stickers and some things I need to get done. Then I have some embroidery work to do, and then I might look at my setup. I have it like mock set up in my basement, and it's a mess everywhere. But maybe if I get around to that, I'll show all of that. But yeah. Yeah, I remember when I was still on Discord, you were working. I'm not going to say where you were working in case you don't want people to know where you were working. Are you still working at the same place or somewhere new? How's it going? Okay. I'm like, I don't want to like blurt it out in case anyone ever reads this and is like, I'm going to find her. Well, that's good. Do you still like it, or is it just it's just a job? Most of the jobs I've ever had were just a job. My business is slow. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's slow and crappy. I think I mean, at least my business is not our only income, so it's just like it's just like a hobby job. I wish it was more than just a hobby job, but that's up to customers. It's very slow, but I have gotten some orders, and I've gotten several orders from a certain lady who's been absolutely wonderful. She's been so sweet, so kind. And I'm very grateful for her continued support because it means a lot to me when somebody has purchased from me before purchases from me again, because then it helps me to feel like I'm doing things right. like they really love my quality and they appreciate the work that I do. I love that. But it's slow. This year has been, yeah. So I even went through the other day and added up like how many orders I had gotten to this point from the beginning of the year last year, and then from the beginning of this year to this point now. And I think I'm about 14 or 15 orders off. So, and you always hope that you're getting better and you're growing, not shrinking. So that kind of makes it a little, it's a little sad when you feel like, oh, I should be growing, not staying the same or getting worse, So that's how it's going. Long story short, it's so. I need to cut these. So I'm cutting some stickers right now. Excuse me for trying to figure out how I do this normally. I don't do something for so long that I forget how to do that piece of all of it. And then, then I have to like relearn it all over again. I think it's that. Let's see if that is that. And my cut mats are like, these are the same cut mats that I got when I purchased this machine, I'm pretty sure. So I don't even remember when I purchased this machine. Well, and that's also why I'm trying to look a little more into craft fairs and things like that, because maybe in person I'll have a little more luck. So we'll see. And a lot of the stuff that I am going to be selling at my winter market, I do not actually have on my website. I mean, some of it I do. But a lot of it I don't even have on my Etsy shop. So hopefully I'll get some orders that are local and people will see that I can embroider and I can do that kind of stuff. Right now, a lot of the stuff that I have on my Etsy shop is like my embroidery things. And a lot of the things I'll be taking to the market are embroidery along with crochet hats, like baby hats and crochet baby booties, crochet mug cozies, crochet all kinds of different things. Let's see. My kids are really being loud upstairs. I think that's it. Send. Fingers crossed it works. There's so much stuff behind the computer, or I have too much crap on my table. So, I don't know if you've been doing a lot of crafty things lately, but I saw a video, I don't know, a few weeks ago about the new Cameo, and I really want it. I'm like, ooh, it's got a lot of cool things that you can do with it. But I'm a Cameo person, so the one that I currently have is a Cameo. I think it's the Cameo 2. So it's old. In the world of technology, it's old. But the new one is really cool. I love the electrostatic mat, like the electrostatic option that you can hook up to it, and so it's like you don't need a sticky mat. It just like static clings to the base, and that runs in and out, and so when it's done cutting, you just pull it off and you don't have to worry about anything else. I love that option because then you wouldn't have to worry about a mat anymore. And you don't have to worry about them being sticky or not sticky or whatever. Let's see if these cut through. I think they cut through enough. I can probably push it a little more. I think they're enough, but I could make it a little bit stronger on the next go. Okay, let's make that a little bit more force. Send. And I also just purchased some faux leather tags to sew onto all my baby hats and things like that. Man, those suckers are expensive. And I'm like crossing my fingers on, please let me be happy with them. Well, that's good. I can cut these. I don't remember what I cut these at. That's okay. These. Yeah, that's better. Food. Trim that. Sorry, I also talk to myself. So that gets annoying. Sorry. Oh, work. Well, I appreciate you listening in because it gets really sad when I'm solo on here. All right, good. That one's done. Put the next one in. I feel like my colors on my printer are a little off. Yeah, those are definitely off. Yeah, I probably should stop because this is probably like a heads up that nobody cares. But it also helps to motivate me just to sit down and get work done, because if I don't, then I find a million other things to do besides getting the work done that needs to be done. So it's probably a sign that I shouldn't do lives, but I don't know. And honestly, if I was still part of Discord, I probably wouldn't do lives, because then I could just go on there and have someone to chat with. But since I don't have that anymore, I'm just like, I guess I'll go live. Okay, that is getting cut. I'm really wondering why that's messed up. Ooh, I've got hiccups. Great. Probably have to recut these because the color is not right. It's like purple. That one's fine. That one's fine. Then it goes yuck. I wonder if I'm running out of my color ink. I do not know. Oh, that would be why my ink is done for. Well, then I'm not going to bother cutting this if I don't like it. Okay. I'm going to bother cutting it. Okie dokie. Now, okay, now I want to, let me take out, so on my iPad, I have written out everything I have in stock that I've made. And and then I have I have it written out what else, like a target quantity I want for making any more items of. So I have each item written out, and then I have it, how many more of it do I want to make? Or if I'm done, I just like kind of cross out that section. So I know that that's all I'm gonna make. So right now I want to focus mainly on embroidery items. So I think I might do I have about 40 reindeer candy cane holders, which I swear that's the only thing I actually get orders on. So I have about 40 of those, but I think I want about 20 more, just in case people purchase it. And in my shop, I do not offer the candy cane holders with candy canes. Because the problem for me is if I send my item that I've worked really hard on and that I've tried to make sure it looks the best it can look when I send it out, and if the candy canes were included and I sent that out and the candy canes broke on the way there, I'm afraid that some of the customers I get may give you a lower review because the candy arrived broken. So I don't want to. Plus, there's so many different kinds of candy canes out there. Like, people are able to customize it to how they want it or how they want their kids to have it. So, they can go out and buy whatever kind they want instead of like the peppermint ones. Now, for my winter market, I'm actually going to include the candy canes because I'm going to be there in person and have them already put together. So I know whether they'll be broken or not. Plus, I also noticed at my pop-up shop, a lot of people didn't understand what any of my embroidery items were. Like, they didn't know the candy cane holders were for candy canes, and they didn't really understand the idea of them. Even though I had one on display, like, oh, this is what it's for. I don't think people understood. Plus, it was in the middle of the summer, so nobody was interested in holiday stuff. But I'm hoping, since this is like right before Christmas, it's December 2nd, people are going to be in the mood for purchasing items like that, and they'll think it's a cute idea. I don't know. Once again, doing markets is really a guessing game. At least so far, it's a guessing game because this is going to be my second one, so I have no idea. But I have my fingers crossed that it's going to be a good one, hopefully. So, since I want to do more reindeer candy cane holders, I'm going to set that up in my program. Sorry, I can't share my screen with you because I don't know how to do that. Okay, so I think 5 is about all I can fit on there. So center that. And I may separate them a little bit more. Wish I could share my thing with you. So okay. So that one's done. Utility. Color sort them. What is nice is, so I'm trying really hard to take items that can be personalized with me, but that are not personalized. So these reindeer candy cane holders can be personalized, but they won't be at the show. But if anyone wanted to order them personalized, they can. Same goes for some ornaments. Now, some ornaments I am taking with me are like semi-personalized. They don't have a name on them, but there is one that I have this year's date on it, so that, you know, if people are looking for like an annual Christmas ornament, I have it with the date on it. Here, I'll show you what it is. So I'm going to have two options. Hopefully you can still hear me while I'm walking away. I'm going to have two options. There's going to be like a red and green, like classic traditional colors. And then I also heard, I can't remember where I heard it, that I heard through something I watched about pastel colors being popular this year for Christmas. I don't know, who knows. So I decided to make this with pastels. So this will also be available in classic Christmas colors. So here is my classic Christmas colors. So it'll be like this and like this, but I'll also have the date on it. So those I'm going to be taking with me as well. I'm also taking treat bag holders, different things like that. Okay, so I have that done. Hi, Maria. How are you? Sorry, I am setting up a file of, what am I doing? Okay, I'm setting up a file for a bunch of reindeer candy cane holders that I'm going to make for my holiday or my winter market. So that's just what I'm doing right now. If I could share the screen, I would, but I don't know how to do that. that up. That's fine. Okay. Okay. Color sort. New. No, I don't want it that big. New view. Okay, those two are ready to go. Just YouTube. Yeah, I've never tried StreamYard. Nice. Snack time is important. Okay. So since I'm doing those, I need my big frame. Yikes. I'll be right there, guys. Just setting up my hoop. I am doing okay. I'm trying not to be much of a complainer. I think people get sick of me if I complain about things, so so I'm doing okay. Right now I'm just trying to get everything organized for my market in December. The machine I have is a Brother PR 620. 620, yeah. It's an older machine. But I actually got it. So I originally started 2 years ago. I started with like a flatbed machine. I think it was like a NQ 3600 something. It was a what do they call? A combo machine. So it was an embroidery and a sewing machine. And I used that for like almost a year? Maybe a little less than a year. And I had seen where I had purchased that machine, they had somebody brought in a machine as like a trade, or they no longer used it or something like that. And I asked him, because if you within a year, if you want to upgrade, they will take your own machine and then you can upgrade to something else. So that's what I did. I upgraded it and added a little cash on top. But that's how I got that machine. I don't know if it's discontinued. I just know it's an older model. Like, sorry. I just know that it's an older model. The shop owner had said that the person who brought it to them, it was originally in California and they moved here. They had previously purchased it for like trade shows and things like that. So, it was barely used. I think it had 800,000 stitches on it when I purchased it. So, barely used. And they weren't using it anymore. And it's a 6-needle machine. I really want more needles, like 10, 12, something like that. But that's not even close to me being able to purchase one of those. I try really, really hard. Well, so far, I don't. Okay, let's reword this. I don't put myself into debt for my business, or I try never to do it. That's just how I am. Because really, if this business isn't actually making me a solid, true income, I don't want to put myself into debt for it. So that's just my little spiel on that. So I wouldn't go for a fancy machine unless I could actually afford the machine straight out. Okay, so what's the biggest hoop size? This, I think, I love they have, so it's 300 by 200 millimeters, and it's like 11.8 inches by 7.9 inches. So it's like a 7 by 12. That's what I always use, is 7 by 12 in my Brilliant software. So that's the biggest one. And then it has a bunch of other ones. It has a teeny tiny one that's like for a sleeve or something. I think I used that one time. And then this is the 5x7 hoop on it. And luckily, this person who brought it in kept everything. So, and then this one is like technically the 4x4 hoop, I believe. Yeah, 3.9 by 3.9. So this is the 4-inch hoop, the 4x4. And then I don't even know. Oh, here's the little dinky one, like the teeny tiny baby one. This one is 2.4 by 1.6, or a 60 by 40 millimeter. So it's got this one, this one, this one, and then this one. These are the two that I used. Well, I don't even use that one very much. The two I use the most are the 7 by 12, the big one, and the 5x7. And last year I also got a magnetic hoop. I would like more of these, but they're expensive. Well, and I don't work my business. I probably don't work my business as hard as some people work their business. I mean, obviously, but also I'm pulled in a lot of directions. I have a lot of responsibilities in different areas of my life. I've also been told by family members, they're like, well, just stop doing this. Your job is to be a mom. Because, yes, it is my job to be a mom. But this helps me keep a little bit of sanity. Helps me keep my hands moving and doing something, using my brain for something other than worrying about everyone else in the whole wide world. So it helps me personally. I don't know if that sounds selfish or not, but this is like the only thing that I do. So, I mean, it's still technically work, but Yeah. It's just the one thing that I can do. That's, I don't know. And this is the first time. So I've had my Etsy shop since 2011, I think it was. And I originally started out with paper items like handmade cards and like handmade cards and different things like that. And I really had no direction on like what I was doing, and let's just say it failed miserably, but also I wasn't putting very much effort into it. And this is the first time I've actually like continually pushed to give effort towards my business. So I think I've been doing this for 2 years now. Has it grown? Last year was way better than this year, let's be honest. But I'm still going. I'm still trying, really, really trying to make it work because I want to be successful. I think I really want people to take me seriously and not just think, oh, well, she's in her basement just crafting. Because you wouldn't believe how many remarks I've gotten from people like, oh, you're just playing. And I'm like, no, I'm actually trying to make this like a legitimate business. I also remember I would go in somewhere for an appointment, and you know how you have to fill out the paperwork, and it's like, what do you do for a living? And I used to be embarrassed to put anything, just be like, nothing. He would write down nothing, but now I'm like, I don't care what they think, because one, I am a stay-at-home mom, and that's actually a hard job. So I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I also own a small business. And now I'm not as afraid to write that down. Yeah, sometimes I'm afraid of like the response I'm going to get from people, but a lot of people will be like, well, that's not actually a job. You're not actually making income. Well, no, but if I keep pushing, maybe one day I will. Like, you're not going to, I think other crafters are the people that are like, no, you have to keep going. It's not going to just happen overnight. And so I keep holding on, hoping. I'm like, okay, you can do this. It's not going to happen overnight. You can do this. So I keep trying. We shall see. Okay. So now I'm going to work on some of these. I'm just setting this up. Okay. All right. So the other thing I have also started to do, I don't know if you can see me or not. Okay. I'll give you, I don't know if you guys have machines like this or not, but so with this hoop, you can tell there's a tightening screw here and a tightening screw here. I don't know what the real names for these are. I'm calling them tightening screws. So there's one on either side. So you put it in your machine and you have a tightening screw here, but it's flippable and it would be the same way. So I get confused. When I use this, sometimes I forget and put it in the wrong way. So ever since I started having that issue, I take a permanent marker and I always put an arrow so that I know, like I can either, usually I put an arrow here so I know this is the way out. It needs to be pointing towards me. So I would put it in the machine. So there's the arrow. I would put it in the machine like this. So I know it's always going to be pointing at me. That's what I do, because there's been a few times. Because if you use this one, if you use any of the other ones, you can kind of use the screw as a reference. So the tightening screw is right here. So when you put it into the machine, you put it into the machine like this, you always know that the screw is going to be on the outside facing you, because there's nothing else over here. That's how I do it. But, and this little one has it too. It's on the outside. It would be on the outside facing you. You would never get that screwed up. And then with a Mighty Hoop, it always goes in warning side label first. So the warning label is at the top of the hoop. You put it in like this. So there's no way to screw it up, because it kind of bows out here, and that's where this end goes, is like hooks to here. It's always bowed out. So if you try to put this in that way, it's not going to go. And if it does go, you're like really slamming that sucker in there. So it always goes warning label in first. But since this one can be kind of messed up, I always write an arrow so I know it needs to be facing me, so I don't screw anything up. Also, another thing that I've started to do, I wish I had a phone. I would love to do these things live on my phone so that I could show you more. But, okay, we're going on a little trip. Okay, so here we're at my machine. Sorry, you're seeing my messy craft room. So, anyway, you're going to put this in like, oh, I almost messed it up. See, I told you. So I put it with the arrow facing out towards me. And you know how usually the first thing that you have is a tack down stitch, right? So I go in, when I go into the sewing, I first use like the trace so I can see where it's going to be, but I just do the 4 corners. So I go to the first corner, and I have cutaway right here. I go to the first corner, and I find where the needle would go down into the machine to grab the bobbin. And I make a little mark in that hole. Then I go to the next corner, and I do that to all 4 corners and make my mark on my cutaway stabilizer. Then I go back to the center. Then I don't have to do my tack down stitches. I don't have to do tack down stitches to see where it needs to go now. Instead, I don't know if you can see it. See that little red dot right there? So I have them in all 4 corners. Another red dot. So I put it in all 4 corners so I know where I need to hoop, or where I need to lay my felt, so that I don't have to waste tack down stitches, if that makes sense. Because for some things you do need it, but for other things you don't necessarily need it. If I can make like a faux outline, then I don't have to waste more thread, because it wastes thread. You know, doing a basic outline tack down can be like 500 or more stitches. versus if I don't do that at all, I just use my thread for what I need to be visible, which I'm all about saving where I can save. So that's just a little tip, if that helps you out at all. Because if you can do an outline and not have to do that extra stitching, you can save yourself a little bit of money on your thread. So anyway, what I gotta see what I have to cut it at. So I need to cut them at about 10 3/4. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm just cutting my felt now. Guys, so I even have like a makeshift craft fair setup going on in here. So I have felt everywhere. I have items, I have stuff for sale everywhere. Okay, 10 3/4. So now mine does not have a laser light, no. Yeah, those ones are fancy. Mine's not that fancy. Mine's very basic. Okay, so I have my 10. Okay, sounds good. So I have my 10 3/4 inch felt cut out. And then I just make sure all those dots are covered up. My tape. Then I'm going to take my tape. I usually use masking tape for this. I could use, I think you could use, what is it called? Spray adhesive? Yeah, words. You could use spray adhesive if you wanted to. But I haven't, not for this, because they're pretty basic and simple. So the only thing I usually use spray adhesive for is my closed items. So this is not a closed item. This item has to have an opening at the top for you to put your candy canes in, right? So for my closed items like tags and things like that, I do usually use spray adhesive because I just want it really stuck down well. And those are usually made out of fabric, so using spray adhesive works really well for that. Okay, let me just put this in. And I'm going to tighten this up just a smidge. So I watched a video the other day about tension on your machine. And learned a lot. Now, the thing is, the problem though, the gentleman mentioned using or getting a tension gauge, and I went to look up a tension gauge. Holy mackerel, those things are expensive. They're like $100. Or at least the one he was using was $100. So I don't think that's going to be in my wheelhouse for a while, but it is something to think about. Because he just explained how like the back of your work should have like 50%. In an ideal world, it should be like 50% bobbin thread and 50% top thread coming through to the back. And I don't feel like mine is very consistent when it comes to that. So it would be nice to be able to be a little bit more confident in the back. It would be nice if I was a little bit more confident in the tension of my machine, both the bobbin tension and the top tension. And I think all my stuff would look nicer if I had it. I was a little more confident. Over to the side, if anyone's wondering where I am. I really need more organization in my craft area. I need somewhere where I can put all my fabric up and have it accessible. But put away and nice and neat. Just saying. Okay, I'm just cutting some more felts because I'm out. Cut for about 20 more. Okay. Then I may show you guys like my setup or like my faux setup. It's not perfect. I'm not exactly sure how I want to set it all up. So I have so much stuff in the way though. Let me see if I can move anything around. There's a lot of crap. And I'm using a lot of I'm using my tables that are down here that I use for work tables, so I don't have as much room for my items or my fabrics. So if I show you my area, don't give me a hard time. I don't have much space. So if you're interested in me showing kind of my setup of what I have set up so far, just let me know. If not, then we don't have to do that. But I know you're driving right now, so if you want me to show you it, just let me know at some point. isn't where I want things to go. Every time I move something around, I'm like, oh great, that'll be perfect. And then I'm like, oh, where am I going to put the rest of that? Like, I have no clue where I'm going to put this stuff. That's not in there. Oh, sewed over something. Now I'm just going to Hi, Mommy. Honey, I'm on a live. I'm on a live. I don't want you in the video though, okay? I love your pajamas. They're so cute. I love them. Okay. Go upstairs, okay? Okay. Sorry. I try really hard not to let my kids be in the videos just because you don't know what could be out there. And yeah, I'll leave it at that. Okay. So right now I'm just trimming up the back of these. I think I've said this before. You don't have to trim the back of them, but I do just because I don't want there to be anything like too big that will like snag on like the candy canes or whatever when you're putting the candy canes in. So I just trim it up. It doesn't have to be perfect, just shorter pieces, shorter ends. Sorry, you're gonna hear lots of noise. I think I've also mentioned this before. I'm not a huge fan of the white embroidery thread when you go to finish off an item. So what I try to do is I try to make the top thread and the bobbin thread match when I finish an item, like when I finish it all up. So these are ready to be closed. So I'm going to take my felt and find which side is which. Okay, I'm going to take my felt and I'm going to place it on the back. I don't know if you can see. Let me see if I can put my camera down some. So I'm going to just place it on the back so that you guys don't have to just listen to me. You can actually see it being done. Okay, put it on the back. And I have some save tape over here. And then I can just put that on. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it back to my machine. Remember, arrow facing towards me. And I'm going to switch out my bobbin case to the same color top thread, or to the same color bobbin thread as my top thread, so that it has a more finished, clean look to it. And I have I don't know if they would call it an industrial winder, but I do have a bobbin winder over here. That is what I use for my metal bobbins. So then I'm going to unlock it and start it off. And this is where that tension gauge or the tension, a tension gauge would come in handy, because the tension of that thread is going to be different than the tension of my thread from my pre-wound bobbins. So that's where a gauge would probably come in really handy. But like I said, $100 to $120 is just a lot for one item. So when I could buy a fair amount of threads with that amount of money, so I try to put in perspective what's more important. So right now, thread and that kind of stuff is more important. I can hopefully learn my thread tension more over time and by feel than by having a gauge, until I can actually afford a gauge. But anyway. So that is stitching. Yeah. Yeah, budgets are, I mean, I don't have a very strict budget with my business, but I've been a Dave Ramsey follower for 6+ years. Yeah, probably 6+ years. And his teachings have really, in some respects, I feel like his teachings have made me a little bit too cautious. But so his teachings have made me a little too cautious about spending money, but also they've really helped us to, just be more aware of like how stupid we can be with our money. I mean, I'm going to be 100% honest. I think every single person is stupid with money. Every single person. I don't think everyone to start off is stupid with money. It may be varying degrees of dumb, but I think everyone is. And it is, I mean, that should obviously be something they teach in school, but they don't. But following, now I don't know if I follow him as closely as he would want me to follow him. Like, you have to stick to this, you have to do this. But by implementing a large amount of what he teaches, we're a lot more aware and we're a lot more conscientious about like what we spend and like things like that. So it's helped. Definitely has helped. But anyway, that's my little spiel. And what did you say? I don't remember. I asked before. But how did you get into embroidery? I got into embroidery. So in high school, no, not high school. It was middle school. In middle school, we had like a home ec kind of class where you learn how to sew or you learn how to cook something. We had like a little home ec-y kind of class. And we did sewing. And I remember loving the sewing machine. And I was like, oh, I want my own sewing machine. So I remember I bugged my dad and I bugged my dad and I bugged him. And he actually purchased this sewing machine, this one right here. That it's a white sewing machine. He purchased that for me. I think it was used, I'm not sure. But he purchased that for me. But I was a middle schooler, so I didn't take good care of my stuff. Like, I beat that sucker into the ground. In fact, it still runs, but it doesn't actually sew a straight line anymore because I've sewn everything with it and never have taken care of it. I don't think I've ever actually oiled it. So I think it was during the whole last 3-4 years, at the very beginning, probably in 2020, when I was just looking on YouTube, and I found I think it was Angela Jasmina. I found her, and I found I found Angela Jasmina and I can't remember her name. She doesn't really do it very much anymore. Like, she'll have a little snippet here or there, but she doesn't do it anymore. I can't remember her name. She started a Discord group and all that stuff. And I wasn't even in it at all. Like, I rarely even sewed. But I remember loving the look of it. I've always loved the look of embroidery, but like, that's way out of my league. I could never have an embroidery machine and all that stuff. And then I met Cindy Moncada online. And she was doing her embroidery business. And um, there was a woman who followed her. I have to find my cord or my battery is gonna die. There was a woman who followed her who was trying to give away her old sewing machine because she had upgraded to one, and she wanted to give it away and donate it to somebody who could use it. And Cindy had done she had done like a giveaway or like a drawing, and the first person she drew, they said, "Oh no, I already have a new one coming." And then the second person she drew, they never got back to her or something. I don't know. So the lady spoke to Cindy and said, "Well, let's give it to Sarah." And so Cindy contacted me and said, she wants to give you this sewing machine. And in fact, the lady only lives about an hour, hour and a half away from me. So she actually drove it to my house, and she gave me everything that goes with it. So it's a Husqvarna Viking 1 Plus, I think it is. And it's like a combo machine. You can do embroidery and you can do sewing. It's a much older machine, but she gave me all the feet, the sewing table, everything that she had. I mean, hundreds of dollars worth of things. And she donated it to me, and that's my sewing machine. That's the sewing machine I use because my other one does not sew in a straight line. I've sewn a quilt on it. I've sewn a bunch of stuff on it. I love that machine. Obviously you're always going to be like, "Oh, I want something newer and better," and but it works, and it works a million times better than the one up there. The one up there is like actually like you have to hand do everything. This machine is like computerized, so you can, have the needle down or the needle up or the whichever way you want to sew. So I originally tried that machine for embroidery. Now the only way you can embroider with that machine is there's like these little panels that attach to the front of it, and that's how you select what you want to embroider. And I tried that a few times. In fact, I didn't have anything for embroidery, and I think a woman by the name of Mary actually gifted me like my first set of embroidery thread and some stabilizer. She asked Cindy if she could send it to me and get my information, and I was like, sure. So she sent it to me. It was so sweet. I remember I cried when I got that because I was like, that was so kind of somebody to send that to me. So I tried my first embroidery through them because she donated some of those things to me, and I got hooked. And I was like, oh, I want an embroidery machine. Like, I want one that I can actually plug in a USB drive and actually embroider something that I want to embroider. Because, the older embroidery machines, like, you only can do what's built into the machine, and that's it. I wanted to be able to do my own stuff. So I saved up and purchased my flatbed machine that I no longer have anymore because I upgraded to that one. So I got my first flatbed embroidery machine, not the Husqvarna, the other one, like 2 years ago. And then last year, I believe I upgraded to this one. Eve. No, her name is Eve. Her name was... I might still have her name in here. Yeah, well, this machine is like old. Like, it has like little plates that you have to click on the front of it, and you have to turn it into embroidery or whatever. So you can't plug a USB drive into it. So you can't sew anything other than what's on there. Yeah, I mean, they were so sweet. Like, those are the people that got me into it, because I've always loved embroidery, but I was, you're not going to go out. I'm not going to go out and buy a machine and go, oh man, this is not for me. I don't know. There's a lot of people who do, but I'm not really one of those people. Like, I'll just go along with what I think her name was Cordelia. So I remember, like, I couldn't believe that they were like, no, we want you to have it. And I was like, really? You want me to? Like, I mean, isn't there someone else who, and they were like, oh, all of them fell through. So, we want to send it to you, or she wants to bring it to you. And I was like, well, I'm not very far from where she lives. So, she drove it all the way up, and she gave me everything that goes with it. Like, every single thing. She had so many different feet. She had, like, there was like multiples of things. Okay, sounds good. I can work on this. That was a long story made even longer. So now I am just trimming up my threads. Face this down, so if anyone's watching, they don't have to look at my face while I'm working. So you can see, by changing that back bobbin thread to match the front, it makes it look cleaner, like more finished. Oh, that was quick. By changing the bobbin thread, it just makes it look cleaner. See how it, you don't have a stark white on the back, so it doesn't look unfinished. So I just personally like doing that. Now I'm going to unscrew this. See, this is where I wish I had, or I don't wish. This is where another mighty hoop would come in handy. Like maybe a bigger one, so that I could just be quicker. I didn't realize how much more time it takes to hoop your stabilizer than to just use a mighty hoop and go click and it's done. And the funny thing is, when I first got my mighty hoop, I hated it. I remember going, oh, this is the worst thing ever. I can't figure it out, and it's not working right, and blah, blah, blah. And then the more I gave it a chance, the more and more I fell in love with it. I was like, oh, yeah, this is great. Just because I got faster at it. I think you've told me that before, that you can trade in the Vikings. Even a floor model winter. Yeah, I've never actually looked into it because I was like, yeah, it works. So I've never been like, ooh, I want something different. Right now, my main thing is I would love another embroidery machine, like one with more. Now, the problem with this is I would not be trading in the one that I currently have. I love that one. It works beautifully. And it's the first one I had. So I wouldn't trade that one in. So that's when finding another embroidery machine is going to be a hard one. Because then you're actually going to have to come up with all the money. And then there also comes the dilemma of which embroidery machine to go with, because I guess it all depends on who you ask and who you talk to. So the person that I purchased this used machine from, they're no longer in business because the building they were in sold. And the people who purchased the building wanted it completely vacated. So they didn't want anyone else in the building other than them. I think it was like a dermatology place purchased the whole building. It's a big building. So they wanted it completely vacated and they didn't want anyone else in it. So I remember when I talked with them about like bigger commercial embroidery machines, I asked the gentleman who was working there or half owned the place. I had asked him what machine would be a good machine, because I know that, Brother only goes up to 10 needles, right? As far as I know, they only go up to 10 needle. And I was like, I would love to have something more than just 10 needle, like maybe a 12 or a 15 or a 16. And there were a lot, like I asked him on different models. I'm not going to mention which ones because I don't want to like put down what people put their hard-earned money towards. So I have asked on several of the ones of people I know who own them, and he pretty much said no to all of them. He was like, yeah, Brothers are great. Especially, it would be nice to have a Brother because I have somewhere nearby that can maintain them and do maintenance on them, which is good. Now, these other ones, I don't know. But, I guess it all depends. Some people are probably going to say, this place is great and this place is not great. Hi. How are you? Wait. Okay, let me make sure. It's Sandra, right? I get two people confused. Sandy and Sandra. It's Sandra, right? You're not Sandy. Okay. I'm like, I get those two names confused, and I'm like, watch, I'm going to call one of them the wrong one, and I'm going to feel like crap. You're going to be like, dang it. So right now, I am just working on some winter market prep. So I have a winter market coming up on December 2nd. And I have a winter market coming up on December 2nd, and I'm just trying to get everything together in my brain because, it gets overwhelming. Oh, make sure you do your trick if you have an embroidery machine that has the 2 screws, I always screwed up. So I always grab my permanent marker and I mark an arrow to the side I want facing out, so that when I start embroidering, it's always going to go back into the machine the correct way. So, and then I'm going to mark it. I think I'm just going to make these again. And like I said, I go through and I mark each corner so I know where to place my fabric. All right, I'm just setting this up, and then I'll get back to you. Okay. Yeah, for the big one, there's 2. There's 1 and 2. So there's 2 on here. And so if you go to put it in the machine, so say you're putting it in the machine like this. I don't know if this is flipped or not, but this screw would be on my right side. So I'd have it like this. But if I accidentally turned it around, it would still be on my right side. So if I put it in that way, I would screw up the whole entire thing. So that's why I put a mark on it, so I know which way it needs to stay. So it needs to stay facing me every time. That's why I do the marking. So now I will add my felt in those. And then the other marks, like I said, like these little red marks, you can't see it. These little red marks in the corners are just so I don't have to do the placement stitch. Because for me, I always think of how much thread it's wasting. I'm like, it doesn't need to be. Right? I don't want to waste all that thread. Okay. And I can reuse some of this tape. Okay. So once I get this on to stitch, was anyone interested in seeing like my kind of like faux setup? If you do, I can try and show you, and hopefully maybe you guys have some ideas for me, because I don't really know how to set. I've done one market, so I don't know how to set any of it up. Okay, so that's ready to go, and all I have to do is get it to go. Switch out. Now I just have to switch back to my white bobbin thread. So now I just have to cut this out. I'm just going to cut these out. Thank you. These are my candy cane holders that I sell. Usually they're personalized with a kid's name, or I've had people purchase them for whole classrooms. I've had people purchase them as like gift tags for gifts. I've also had a lot of people tell me that they gave it as like a little stocking stuffer, and then the kid could use it, the kid or the person, whoever they gave it to, uses it as a bookmark later. So they're really useful for a bunch of different things. Heck, even you could put pencils in it after you've used the candy canes or instead of the candy canes. So this is one of my big sellers. And I'm just making a bunch of them without names, and if someone at the craft fair wants one with a name, they can just custom order it. With my embroidery things, I'm trying to take things that either don't need to be personalized or things that can be personalized or not personalized. I feel like I'm not taking very much embroidery items with me. Most of my stuff is going to be crocheted items. So yeah. Well, because I couldn't really think of what to bring for embroidery things without, needing everything to be personalized. Because I really feel like maybe in person people aren't going to want to, unless you're personalizing on the spot. I feel like most people aren't going to want to order a custom. I don't know. Then again, I've never done a winter craft fair, so who knows? I honestly thought about I honestly have thought about oh boy, my brain just went blank. If I remember what I was going to say, I'll say it. So there's 5 of them done. Mug rugs. Oh, yeah. Like any like I have some crochet coasters that I've never sold any of those. And it's really funny, like I also made a bunch of those cold cup cozies. I've never sold any of those either, except for you and Amber. So I have a bunch of those to take with me too. So I don't know. So I have 5 of these made, and I have so I'm doing all the girl ones first. So I have girl ones with the eyelashes, and then I have boy ones that don't have eyelashes. Right? Yeah, I've never sold, other than you and Amber, I've never sold one. I still have all the ones that I originally made, 2 years ago? Or a year ago? Something like that. Yeah. I use it for some of my stuff, and they work great. But, yeah. Right. I'll have to pick up a venti Starbucks cup and be drinking it with one of it on it. That's what I told my husband. I was like, I need to be drinking a drink and people can see. Oh yeah. Hi. What are you having for dinner? I have no clue what I'm having for dinner. I'm sure the children are having peanut butter and jelly for the 400 millionth time in their lives. Are you interested in seeing my sort of setup? Or if not, we don't have to. If so, I will. Because what I did is I just use my tables that are down here, and I'm doing a mock setup for it, because I don't want to lug everything outside, because it's a lot to lug outside. Yeah, that's about what my kids do too. Yeah. And I have stuff in the freezer. I haven't taken it out. Like sometimes when I make, like if I make a legit good dinner, I will try to make double. So I'll make the dinner that night, and then I make dinner in like a pan so I can freeze it. And so I'll have it for another night. I have 2 things in my freezer right now that I could make, but have I taken it out to defrost it? No. Yeah, I don't. For me, half the battle is coming up with what I'm going to feed everyone. And then I'm like, okay, who's not going to want it? Who's going to whine and complain about it? Who's going to. So then I'm like, nope. We'll just have crap food. Okay, so if you guys want to see my mock setup, let me know. And I'm going to look at this. Come on. Go in. I hate when these things do this. Alright. Hold on. For some reason that did not want to go through. That looks weird. Oh. It's because it's not supposed to be there. Also, another thing I could not live without are these Snag Nabbit things. I believe who purchased this for me? It was Naomi. So here is a Snag Nabbit. See how it's got like little, how do you explain it? It's like ridged with a bunch of like little things, so that when you push it through, say you have a loop on top or a loose string or something, you take this and you put it through the hole, like right where it's coming out or near where it's coming out, and it grabs that thread and pulls it through. If you guys don't already have one of these. But I remember before I had this, the number of things I would remake because there was a loop on top or there was a thread that shouldn't be there. The number of things I remade was insane, and it was a waste of money. So I got one of those and I use it. I mean, you can see how much I use it. It's bent. Like, I use it all the time. Okay. And then I'm just cleaning up the back because technically you don't have to clean up the back of these because they're going to be hidden by another piece of felt. But I like to just clean it up so that, like, when you go to stick the candy canes into it, I don't want it to like get stuck like on a piece of like a loop or something on the back. So that's why I trim it up as best I can so that there's nothing to snag on it. Also, do either of you have like a tension gauge machine for your bobbin threads? I watched a video the other day about how important like bobbin thread tension is, obviously, but he was talking about if you're really interested in embroidery, bobbin thread tension gauges are a very good thing to have around, because there's like grams per inch or grams per something that your bobbin thread should be pulling through at. And he said like a good place is like between like 25 and 30, and that each bobbin thread is different. So that's why you get inconsistencies on the back of your work. And I was like, man, I need to get one of those. And then I looked up how much they are, and they're like $100. And I was like, nope. I was like, I guess I'll just wing it. It's like 100 or like 120, something like that. Ugh. I was like, no. But I did see like the usefulness of it, because like then you can kind of get the idea, and like you can make tiny tweaks to it once you know like the correct tension. I thought it was beneficial in that part. Okay. Once I get this on, or once I get this finished cutting, and then I put the fabric on the back, then I'll show you my mock setup. And maybe you guys can give me ideas of how to make it look better. Amber could probably get some ideas, because she used to do this. You used to do this. I don't do this. I try to make it nice, but well, and then the worst part is like you're like, oh, I could get this and this and this and jazz it up and make it look like this. And then you forget, like, you don't have exponential amounts of money. So that's not going to happen. Okay. Almost done. I always find more threads to cut. Okay, good enough. Put this on the back. Where did that come from? That on the back. Okay. Tape. Then I just use tape for mine. I heard your name. Sorry. You're probably like, yes, someone else is allowed to use my name. I'm not always mom, okay? That's how I feel. I'm like, could somebody call me something other than mom? Okay, so I'll put this on here. And I need to remember to change out my bobbin thread. I'm sure I repeat myself all the time. So I use my white bobbin thread for everything, except for when I'm finishing an item. When I'm finishing an item, I like my top thread and my bobbin thread to match, because I think it just, like, if it's on the inside of a shirt, I'm not going to worry about it. I mean, I don't do shirts very often, but if it's on the inside of a shirt, it's usually getting covered up by like the cloud cover, or the what's the other one? It's usually getting covered up by something. But with these kinds of items, So when you turn it over, I like that there's no white. I like how it looks finished and it's purposeful and it just looks neater to me. So all the stuff, all the stitching that was done on the inside is all with white bobbin thread. All the stitching done on the back to finish it, I try to match the thread. So I wind my own bobbins for that and just use the top thread. I'm not sure if you're supposed to do that, but I just use the top thread and wind my own bobbins. So I'm going to put that in. And start that up. Okay. So don't mind my messy because it's very cramped down here. So let's see. Do I have enough battery? This thing was screaming at me earlier that they didn't have enough battery. I think I can maybe fit it through there. Okay, I'm moving it. Please ignore my really messy faces. Okay, here we go. So, right now, I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing with this. This one's looking so-so. So, this is in the way. Okay. You're on my laptop, so there's only so many ways I can manipulate it. Okay, so the main things, I'm doing a lot of crochet and embroidery. So right now, over here, I'm thinking of having it as my amigurumi section, either here or over on this other table. So this is going to be my amigurumi section, and the items that I have, if you guys want to see the items, I have jellyfish. So here's some jelly. I have about 5 of these. These were just made using yarn that I had left over from other projects. So I just used up all the yarn for that. And that's why there's only 5. So jellyfish, and then little teeny tiny turtle. Now the jellyfish, the turtles are some of these items. So these jellyfish, these little turtles, and this and these turtles have safety eyes, but I'm trying to move away from actually using safety eyes. These were ones that I made before. I've done my best to secure them. So when I attach them, I then melt the backs of them and flatten them so that hopefully they don't come off. Because it may say safety eyes, but safety eyes are not necessarily safe for little kids, especially ones that put things in their mouth and like chomp down. So I try to secure these as best I could. And I will also let people know that there's a choking hazard, obviously. So I'm trying to move away from doing safety eyes. So all my other items, I don't have safety eyes. They're all made with yarn, and I just stitched the eyes on. So we've got the jellyfish. We've got, whoa, just dropped one. We've got the little teeny tiny turtles. These are all made with velvet yarn. This is made with velvet yarn. Whoa. Then I have these little chubby frogs. This is made with like a chenille yarn. Then I have these 3 turtles. I saw someone make turtles. It's not out of this yarn, but I really thought this yarn was cute. These are like fuzzy turtles. So you see how they're like kind of fuzzy? I think they're so cute. The only thing is making this pattern out of this yarn is a pain in the you know what. So these were hard because it's so slippery and it's hard. It's not so hard to see your stitches. I could see my stitches just fine, but like holding on to it, they're very slippery. Yeah. But anyway, I have 3 of those turtles. And then I have bumblebees. These are the ones that have embroidered eyes. So I embroidered the eyes on them. So I have some of those, and I plan on making more of the bees because I still have some yarn that I can use to make it. So bees. And then I have these turtles. So these ones, the eyes are also embroidered on. I have the little light pink turtle and the little sage green. It was called bright sage or something like that, but this like little greenish turtle. So I have like 5 of those. Then over here, I have mug cozies. So I have, hi Andrew, hi buddy. Then I have mug cozies. So I have a few of those in different colors, like pink and green and blue and purple and white. So I have those. Those go around the handle of a mug. So I made my own. I drew this out so that it says like how you should wash and how you should dry. And then I put it around it like you were putting it onto an actual mug. And then hook it around the button. So I've got those mug cozies. I also have the cold cup cozies that I made for you and Sandra. So I have several of those. I also have like a 4-pack of coasters. These are like in a hexagon shape. And then I have these 2 packs of like scalloped circle. So those are what I have. I've never sold any of these before, so I'm hoping they'll sell so I can get rid of them. Then I wasn't going to bring these, but since I'm going, I might as well bring everything I have. And I have these dish scrubbies. So these are, I didn't want to bring them because they're not really my color theme. My colors are very kind of muted and like, I don't know, pretty. My market is December 2nd. And so I have these dish scrubbies. So they're rough. They're actually made out of a scrubby material. So I have those. Hopefully I'll sell some of those. I haven't sold any of those yet. And then I also have these. They're called helping hands. Let me see if I can find something to show you how to use it. Try to find a piece of paper. And you would think as a crafter, I would have it all over the place. Okay, well, this is good enough. It'll show what I want it to show. So these are called like helping hands. And what you do is you have your cards, like your playing cards or like Old Maid or Crazy Eights or whatever. So you have your card, and in between here, you stick the cards. So this is good for people who have like arthritis in their hands or for like little kids. My son actually used this and it helped a lot because he can just hold on to this and he can stick his cards in all around it and he has something to hold instead of trying to fan them out because, you know, little kids don't have that kind of dexterity. So those are cool. I've made about 11 of those. Now, then here comes beanies. So these are all velvet baby beanies. So I have this pink velvet one. They are so stinking soft. And all of them have a pom-pom on them. All of them have a pom-pom. And some have brown pom-poms. And some have white. So these are the only two. I just used up some scrap yarn. So these are colors I'm not going to keep restocking. This green and this blue. But the rest of them, I have quite a few. So I have pink. I have gray. I think it's like a dark gray. I have white in both a white pom-pom and this brown pom-pom. And then I have this powder, like this baby powder blue. I love this color. It's so pretty. So I have that. And then I have this like smoky green color. So, and then I think I have a few with the brown pom-pom on these two. But the white or the pink and the baby blue or the powder blue color only have white pom-poms. So I have that. I have those made. And I only have them made for 0 to 3 months and 3 to 12 months. I don't have any bigger sizes because one, it takes a lot more yarn. It takes a lot more time to make. And I just wanted to like kind of focus on like basic. Embroider names on what? Like if you're talking about these, no. Well, I mean, I guess I technically could. Oh, the beanies. No. I wouldn't embroider anything on them just because these are crochet, so they're not like super tightly knit. If that makes sense, they're not super tight. So, I wouldn't do it. I mean, I haven't tried, but that's like, I don't think I would try that. Yeah, I think somebody asked me that at my last thing too. They were like, "Can you crochet or can you embroider on those hats and stuff?" And I was like, I don't think I would. Like, if you got a tighter, if you got a smaller yarn and it was a much tighter knit or crochet, maybe. But yeah, I don't think I could. I think I'd mess it up. And these take me about these ones probably take me about an hour and then like an hour and 15 minutes. So I have them. So here's the 0 to 3 months, and here's the 3 to 12 months. So hopefully, then I also have more hats. These I don't know where to put them. So I also have baby bear hat. I call them baby bear hats. So like little bear hats. So I have a bunch of those. They're right here. So I have a brown. Put that up at top. I have brown. I have gray. I have like a vanilla ivory color. I have this baby pink that I used for the turtles. I made it for like this, and then the sage color. So I have those all made. And those are all free patterns, or the baby bear, the little bear hats are free patterns. But you're supposed to, you have to sew the ears on. And what I started to do, I was getting sick of sewing them because it wasn't turning out like, it's kind of a pain to sew them on. So instead, can you tell that these are the sewn on ones and these are the crocheted on ones? I figured out a way for me to crochet them directly onto the hat so that I don't have to stitch them on. I can just crochet them on, and it's so much easier, and I feel like it's sturdier, like it's not going to rip off. So yeah, all of these are crocheted on. Do they look okay? Like, I'm always critical of what I make. I'm like, oh, that looks horrible. But if you guys think they look okay, that's what matters. As long as my customers don't think they look yucky. Okay, so those are all I have for the hats. I also have some of these. I only have like 5 of these, and I'm not 100. These were like just whipped up on a whim, and I don't know 100%. I'm pretty sure they fit newborn, but I made these little headbands. So I have about 5 of those headbands. And then, I also have baby booties. So I have little gray baby booties. These like bluish ones. And these like dusty pink. So I have those to sell too. I have about 38 pairs of baby booties. What else? I also have this. I made this a while ago, but I think I made it a little small. So I put down that it's like a preemie newborn. I haven't had a teeny tiny baby in my house in forever, so I'm not 100% sure, but I have it down as like a preemie newborn size. I think that's a good size. So, and it's just like I crocheted the little dress, and I take that with me when I go to craft fairs too. So now I have some loveys. So I have just a few loveys. These are like my security square loveys. I don't think I'm going to be making these anymore just because it's really hard. It's a lot more work to do these. I don't know. If I could find an easier way to do it that was like quick and easy, and I I could get the hang of it super easy, then I might be all for it, but they're harder than they look. So I have some of these just in different styles. Another one. And then this one. This is one of my favorite ones. I think it's so cute. I love the dinosaurs, and I love this like super dark green. That. And then I had purchased this fabric like last year, visiting my husband's family at a store that we don't have here. And I found this fabric, and it's literally the softest thing I've ever felt in my life. Like, it's so soft. So this is a minky fabric, and it's got like little woodland creatures on it, and it's like the softest minky I've ever felt. And then on the back, I found this. I thought this was such a pretty color. Just to go with it, like it matches so nice. So these are like my bigger lovies. These are like 17 inches by 17 inches, roughly that. So I have about 3 of these that I made. So those are the lovies. And then over here, like I said, I haven't figured this out yet, how I'm going to display everything. Some of it I have. I know how I'm going to display it. So here I have my spinner. So I have my spinner, and this has my faux fur scrunchies. And it's got my sewn key fobs or wristlets. So those are all the ones that are sewn. And then I have some velvet keychain wristlets. So I have it in pink, white, pink, purple, green, and blue. These are all just colors that, like, these were all colors I wanted to like get out. So those are for that. And then over here I have like my embroidery section, or what will be my embroidery section. So here's all my little candy cane holders. And I have decided that I am actually going to include candy canes at the show, so people actually know what they're for. So those will have candy canes in them. Then I have, these are my older sewn wristlets that were sewn with not as sturdy of material on the inside to like make it stiffer. So I have these in like a clearance basket, so people can buy those for cheaper. Then I have a bunch of my treat bag holders. So this is a treat bag holder, treat bag, treat. Those are all treat bag holders. And then these ones in the front are gift card holders. I just released these on my Etsy shop this year. And so these are gift card holders. So if you take it, and then you can slip your gift card on the inside right here. And I have a boy version, a girl version with the eyelashes that match my candy cane holders. And then I also have the snowman. So the slit at the top is where you would stick your gift card holder, or you would stick your gift card. So I have those on display here. And then over here, I purchased, you can see, I purchased like this little $5 Christmas tree from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to display some of my ornaments on it so that people actually realize that it's ornaments. Like, because some of these, even like these treat bags, these can hang. These I made with a hanger. So you can stuff them with cash, a gift card, candy, whatever you want, and hang it on your tree. So they don't have to be, or you can tie it onto a gift or whatever. They don't have to be just handed to somebody. You can hang it on the tree and people will see it on the tree as a gift. So I have some of those things like the snowman and all that up here. Then I also have these ornaments that say 2023. I'm also going to be doing a red version. I'm only going to make a couple of these, but I'm going to do like a red and green version, which is what I have for sale on my website. But this is a pastel version because I don't know where I heard it, but I heard that pastel Christmas is going to be kind of popular this year. So I made a couple of these just to see if they sell or not. I also have some crochet items. And these are, these are little angels for the Christmas tree. So I have just those two colors made up. And then these I've had in my stash. Well, not my stash. These I tried to sell before COVID and all that hit the roof. I used to do craft fairs at my mom's work. She's retired now, so she doesn't work there anymore. But I did a few of them that never sold these. I sold one, I think. But I made these quilted ornaments. So the front and the back. And then the ribbon comes up. So I made these a few years ago now. They still look brand new. And then they just hang on your tree. I think I actually have a couple of these on my own tree for Christmas time. But, yep, they're all a quilted ornament. So I have a couple of those on here too. Why not fill up my tree some? Okay. And I think that's all I have. And then I have a bunch of pumpkins that obviously I can't take to that because, pumpkin season is all done. But I think that's all I have to take. It's it's a lot, but it's not. Like, in my head, I'm like, I need to be making more. But I don't know if I've added up how many items I've actually made. Let me see. Hold on. My charger is stuck. I'm hoping that I can figure out a way that everything fits and it looks nice, because at this point I really can't get more things. I've spent enough as it is on these things, so I need to figure out how to arrange it on my table so that it all works. I don't know. My other one should be done. So these are done now. And I'm just going to trim these up. Yeah, I have them, like, that's why I have the wooden crates. So I have wooden crates for things to be up on, but then, and then I have the Christmas tree that helps give it height too. But, I always see people who make things look so flippin' cute, and I'm like, it doesn't look cute. I wish I had the eye and the unlimited budget to make it all look cute. But hopefully it'll be good enough. And I still haven't figured out how I want to hang my banner. And I even talked to you about having the banner done like on. Okay, so I looked up having it printed on like a table runner that you can go over the table and it'll hang in front. The only thing is, like, on Vistaprint, those things are like $80, $90. And no. So I found someone on Etsy who just sells the runner, but I don't have any. That's why I was asking you if you could print something. The only problem is I don't have a heat press that can press it with enough pressure for it to adhere. So I did think about purchasing it and having it shipped to you for you to put it on because you have a nice heat press that could press it down. Because I've heard like DTF prints really do need good pressure. Like iron-on vinyl and sublimation need pressure, but not quite to the degree of a DTF print. That's at least what I've heard and read. That it's doable, but you really need to have good even pressure for it. And yeah. Yeah, the ones she was selling was only like $16, which is not bad, like 100%. But then I worry like will you be able to figure out like what height it needs to be at? Like, because I use a 6-foot long table, and the width of the table is, I don't know, I've never even measured it. But then I also feel bad that, like, because what if this is like my only craft fair I'll have? And then I'm like, you just spent so much money on like just that. And you're never going to do it again. I don't know. I would like to keep doing craft fairs if this one is successful, because this year's been rough. I don't know about you, but yeah, I've not done good this year at all. Like, I even like looked at last year between January and the same time, like in November, to this year, of the beginning of the year to this time. And I'm like 14 or 15 orders less than I was last year. I've not been getting anything. Granted, I have gotten some orders, which are awesome. But like, when you own a business, you want to see it increase, not decrease, right? You want to see everything increase and not decrease. Yeah, I was super happy when I remember I applied for this craft fair. I applied for it because it wasn't like, so around here to get into a craft fair, the booth fee is astronomical. Like for most craft fairs around here, you're looking at like a good craft fair around here. You're looking at $300 to $400 booth fee. And when you don't know how it's going to turn out, you're not going to be like, yes, here you go, here's my money. So I found this one. I actually got emailed, and it said it was like $55 to be in it, and I was like, yeah, sign me up. But you have to apply, and then they have to approve you, and then they'll send you an email if you get in or if you don't. And I remember it said, if you get in, you'll get an email by September 15th. And if you don't get in, you won't get an email. Just take it as a clue that you're not in. So I remember going, it was like September 15th. And I'm like, well, I didn't get in. Or the day or two before it. And I was like, nope. If they would have, they would have emailed me by now if I had gotten in. And on like September 15th or something, I got an email, and I looked, and it says, we're so happy to invite you to be part of blah, blah, blah. And I was so happy. I cried. Let's just put it that way. It's really sad. I cried because I was like, I'm not going to get in. And yep, I got in, and I cried, and I was so excited. And I'm super excited, but I'm super nervous because I'm like, please, people love my stuff. And I run, like, you probably know, I run everything. Everything is afforded by my business. Like, I try never to take away from our family income to furnish my hobby job. I would love for this job to actually, my first goal is to actually have an income in this job where I can actually pay for at least one bill. That would be amazing. I keep thinking of like Angela Jasmina and all that stuff where, they were working their butts off and all this stuff, and now they have like 10 Melcos or something, and I'm like, what? So maybe one day, who knows? If not, then it wasn't meant to be, right? Okay, now all I have to do is trim these. Trim these, and I'll probably stop for the night because I need to go up and have dinner, and I don't think I've had anything since breakfast, so but I'll trim these out, and then tomorrow I just have to, if I find time. One thing that's convenient about crochet though is the fact that I can sit down and just crochet pretty much anywhere. Embroidery, you actually have to come and sit down with your machine. So it's harder to get those things done when I have like a million other tasks to do, and then I'm like, I can't get to it. So I have to like squeeze all that stuff in wherever I can find time. But I've been trying really hard to like I have a list and everything going on in my iPad where I'm like, okay, this is what I need to get done. This is how much I have done. This is, I have like checklists of what more I need to do. Luckily, my checklist isn't very long. And I'm probably overdoing it with the amount of stuff I have. Because this craft show is only one day and it's from like 9 to 3. So it's not like a super long amount of time. So I probably have enough inventory to take. But I mean, these little things I can sell anytime. Like, after the craft fair, if I don't sell them, I could put them on my website easy. Hi, Robin. How are you? I hope you are well. I also made a little bear lovey for my mom because my mom's going to a baby shower sometime this month. I'm not sure when. But let me see if I can find the picture and you can see it. I made like a lovey and I didn't follow any pattern. So I kind of mine's only going to be a 1 day, so it's not going to be a huge deal, but I've put enough work into it that you would think it was like a 3 day. So here is, that's the lovey that I made. So I did it without a pattern. So I came up with like the head and the arms, and then I sewed on all the features so that there was no like safety eyes. And then I made like a little granny square little blanket. So my mom took that and like a bear hat and some booties. So hopefully the mom to be will like it. Thanks. It does take a lot of yarn though. I was like, that's a lot of yarn. The little blanket. I really like the look of there's this pattern by, so most of my patterns, like my amigurumi patterns, most of them, like the turtles, the what are those called, octopus, and the chubby frogs are all by all let me find her name so I don't screw this up. All from Jade. It's all her patterns, all from Jade. And then the baby booty pattern is a free pattern, and the bear hat is a free pattern online. I don't remember their names. And then the bee pattern, let me see, the bee pattern is from bee pattern. Sorry. I want to make sure that I give credit to people so that I'm not like, I did it all by myself. Now that one thing that I showed you, I did by myself, but let me find the pattern. of Sticks and Yarn. She's on Instagram. Of Sticks and Yarn. That's her pattern, was for the bee. Those are free. And then all the velvet beanies are from Cameron's Cute Creations. She runs a boutique. She runs a crochet boutique too, and all of those are her pattern. The velvet beanies are her pattern, and so are the wristlets, the velvet wristlets. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that's hers. I can't remember, but those are her patterns too. So all from Jade and Cameron's Cute Creations and Of Sticks and Yarn, and I would have to look up the bear hat and stuff. The bear hat actually has the bear hat and the baby booties have patterns and videos on YouTube. So I've gotten much better at reading patterns, but I always do really well when I have like somebody actually giving me a video tutorial. That helps like immensely. Oh, thanks. My grandma taught me when I was probably 6 or 7, and I sucked at it. I was horrible at it when I first started. And still, like, have really tight tension. So I still can really kind of mess things up. I have to keep reminding myself, relax, stop being so tense. But I've gotten way better at it. Even 3 years ago, I would never ever tried to make amigurumi, which is weird. But now it makes sense to me. It's really funny how it never really made sense to me before, and now it clicks a little better than it did. The baby booties, I'm really surprised because I can make one of those in like 15 minutes. Not the pair, but one booty I can make in 15 minutes. And then, so altogether, it's about a half an hour to make a set of those. The only bad thing is I have been noticing that I have a lot more pain. Like my thumbs, they pop. They kind of, every time like I bend them, they pop or snap. I think it's like a ligament, like getting stuck or caught, and they pop. If I bend them too far, and then it like pops into place. The problem is now it's like working down my hand and in my wrist. So, and it's also become a habit. You know how people pop their knuckles? I pop my thumbs. So I'll just bend it to pop it. And now it's become a habit, and it's probably not making anything better. So that's why it would be nice to have a knitting machine, but at the same time, you can't really charge as much for like knitted items, like, you know, with a knitting machine, because you're hand making it, but like you're using the assistance of a machine, right? I like that when somebody comes up to my booth or comes up and sees my items, I can say, oh, did you know that crochet cannot be machine produced? That, to me, that's cool. to be able to say, well, I can do something that a machine can't do, which in this day and age is pretty cool. So yeah, like when somebody comes up to me, I'm just like, yeah. Because some people don't know the difference between crochet and knit. And when they come up, I can say, oh yeah, knitting and crocheting is two different things. Knitting requires two things, like it requires two needles in order to create your pattern, whereas crochet only requires one hook to create it, and there is no machine that can reproduce crochet items. So if you're buying crochet items like fast fashion, or you're actually purchasing somebody's actual handiwork, not a machine's handiwork, somebody's handiwork. So if you're purchasing something for very, very, very inexpensive, that person got ripped off. Like, the last craft. So that pop-up shop I had in July, I had a lady come up to me. She was a Hispanic lady, and she came up to me and she's like, oh, these are great. She liked the velvet beanie. She goes, oh, I've never seen it like this. And I was like, oh yeah, they're super soft. And she goes, oh, this is so nice. And then she goes, but I wouldn't pay for it. She's like, I just got back. I went to visit. I'm assuming she visited family in Mexico. And she goes, I got a whole bunch of stuff from this lady for very cheap. And I'm thinking, I feel bad for that lady because she worked really, really hard and she sold you something very, very, very cheaply. And I'm like, I felt bad for the lady. I was like, oh. And so she was just letting me know that she wouldn't buy my stuff because she got it less expensive from somewhere else. I was like, okay, sorry. I'm glad she liked my stuff. She likes crochet, but I felt bad for whoever she had purchased it from because I know how much work and how much time goes into it. That's why I can't do very many detailed items. Like that baby dress took me, I don't know, 2 days to make, and you're never going to make back the money. You're never going to make back money for the time and the effort and all that stuff that you put into it. So if you're going to do crochet, you kind of have to do the items that are quickest and easiest to produce, or you're not going to make anything back. That's why, for the most part, when I crochet as a gift. Like I've made baby blankets for friends. I've made dresses, I've made sweaters, I've made all kinds of different things, but I've made blankets for relatives. I've made a bunch of stuff, and I would only give it as a gift because I know how much work and effort goes into it, and like it's really deflating when you work really hard and you make something and it took you like hours and days, and you go to a craft fair or something and somebody looks at it and they're like, that much? No. Which I get it. That's the other thing is, as a crafter, when you go to a craft fair and you see what other people have made and you're not willing to spend that kind of money, please tell me that I'm not the only one who goes to like craft fairs or something and goes, whoa, that's expensive. Or, whoa, I wouldn't pay that much. Like, please make me feel better about feeling like I'm like some hoity-toity. I'm like, no, I wouldn't spend that kind of money. I feel like everyone does that. where I would never say that to somebody ever. Like, oh, your prices are too high, because I know the work that went into it. But yeah, I wouldn't, unless I was really looking for that item, I probably wouldn't spend it. But maybe that just makes me sound stuck up and snotty. Hopefully not. Okay, so all the girl ones are done. Thank you. Have a good night. I'll probably talk to you later. I keep writing things to tell you, and then I'm like, oh, she doesn't want to hear that, and then I delete it. So I'm like, she probably thinks I'm ignoring her, but I keep writing things, and I'm like, oh, that's dumb. I'm gonna delete that. Oh, she doesn't want to hear me talk about that. Delete that. But have a good night. Thank you for stopping by. Okay. So I finished up all the girl candy cane holders that I wanted to. I still have boy ones to do, and I still have a bunch of other embroidery to do. But I think I'm gonna call it quits because it's almost 7 my time. So 7 o'clock, and I've been on for 3 hours. So I think I'm gonna call it a night. I appreciate every single one of you who stopped by and said hi and chatted with me and kept me company. I really, really, really appreciate it. I don't think you understand how much that means to me. So I'm going to call it a night, and I appreciate you for stopping by, and I hope you all have a wonderful night. Good night.